Have you ever wondered why good people seem to suffer more? Friedrich Nietzsche, one of history's most brilliant yet troubled philosophers, had an interesting take on this. He said that good people have a tendency to suffer more than others, and he even went as far as to warn us about why this happens. In today's video, we'll dive deep into Nietzsche's ideas about why good people suffer, why bad people seem to get away with less pain, and what Nietzsche suggests we should do about it. But before we start, Nietzsche lived a life of illness, isolation, and rejection. He knew suffering intimately and saw it as an essential part of the human condition. So let's see what he has to teach us. Why good people suffer more. According to Nietzsche, there are several reasons why good people seem to suffer more. The first reason he gives us is the burden of conscience. Good people think a lot about what they do, overanalyze everything, and want to make sure they're doing the right thing. This often leads them to feel guilt, shame, or regret more intensely than others. Let's say you accidentally hurt someone's feelings. A bad person might not even think about it or just shrug it off. But a good person will likely replay that moment in their mind over and over, beating themselves up about it. They may feel so guilty that they lose sleep or become sick. In fact, a common saying goes, "It is not the bad people who suffer, but those who are good for nothing." The second reason is the weight of compassion. Nietzsche believed that good people have a big heart. They care a lot about other people and their feelings. They see the best in everyone and try to help whenever they can. But this can be a double-edged sword, because while they want to help, they also tend to take on other people's pain as their own. Picture a nurse who works in a hospital. She sees patients suffering every day, from physical pain to emotional distress. Over time, this can take a toll on her mental health. She may start feeling depressed or anxious. It's because she's carrying the weight of other people's suffering, which isn't her own. You could say that she's taking on the pain of the world, and that's why she needs to take very good care of herself. It's a lesson many good-hearted people need to learn. The third reason, honesty and integrity. Nietzsche noticed that good people tend to be honest and have strong morals. They don't like to lie, cheat, or take advantage of others. Instead, they prefer to do what they believe is right, even if it's hard. For example, imagine you're working on a team project. Some of your group members aren't pulling their weight, but instead of calling them out or covering for them, you decide to put in extra effort. You work longer hours and give your best even though it's not fair. This is an example of having integrity. You're sticking to your morals and values even when it's not convenient. But this can come at a cost. While others might benefit from your hard work, you could end up sacrificing your own well-being. You might miss out on important events or have less time for the things you love. In this way, being a good person can sometimes mean missing out on happiness and comfort, which can lead to suffering. But now let's look at why bad people seem to suffer less. Nietzsche argued that immoral or selfish people don't suffer as much because they don't care. They don't feel guilt or worry about what others think. They just do what they want and don't look back. For example, think about someone who cheats on their partner. They might not feel bad about it. They might even enjoy the thrill of the deception. On the other hand, the person who's been cheated on will likely suffer a lot. They might feel heartbroken, betrayed, and confused. Nietzsche said that bad people seem freer than good ones, but this freedom is shallow and hollow. They chase immediate pleasure and avoid pain. But that's not true freedom. Real freedom, according to Nietzsche, comes from accepting all aspects of life, both the good and the bad. So now you might be wondering, why did Nietzsche even bother talking about this? Why does it matter? Well, it matters because Nietzsche was worried that good people would give up. He saw that many kind, honest, and hardworking people suffer a lot, and he didn't want them to think that life was pointless. He wanted them to know that their suffering wasn't pointless. He tried to convince us that our pain can make us stronger and wiser. We just have to choose to make it meaningful. Let's talk about this idea of turning pain into strength. Nietzsche was a firm believer in this. He thought that suffering is an essential part of being human, and those who embrace it and learn from it become stronger and more resilient. He used the Latin phrase amor fati, which means love your fate, to describe this idea. For Nietzsche, amor fati was more than just accepting your fate. It was about embracing it, understanding it, and learning from it. To understand Nietzsche's concept of amor fati, let's break down his famous quote, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." Imagine you go through a tough time in your life, like losing a loved one or going through a messy breakup. First, it feels unbearable. You're overwhelmed with sadness, anger, and despair. But as time passes, you start to heal. You learn to cope with your emotions and move forward. And in the process, you become stronger and more resilient. You gain a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. You also develop new skills and qualities that you wouldn't have had otherwise. This is the essence of amor fati. Through facing your pain and suffering and learning from it, you grow and become stronger. It's important to note that Nietzsche wasn't suggesting that we should seek out pain or suffering. Instead, he believed that when faced with difficult situations, we should embrace them and learn from them. We should try to understand the deeper meaning behind our suffering and use it to make ourselves better. Nietzsche's ideas about amor fati can be applied to various aspects of our lives. For example, when we face challenges in our relationships, we can choose to learn from our mistakes and grow from the experience instead of avoiding relationships or blaming ourselves or others. When we encounter professional setbacks, we can choose to view them as opportunities to learn new skills or find better solutions, rather than getting discouraged or giving up. Similarly, when we face physical illness or personal struggles, we can choose to see them as chances to build resilience and discover inner strength, instead of feeling sorry for ourselves or succumbing to despair. By adopting an amor fati mindset, we can transform our suffering into a source of growth and self-improvement. We can learn to appreciate the value of pain and suffering and use it to make ourselves better, more resilient, and wiser individuals. In a nutshell, Nietzsche believed that good people suffer more because they care more. However, he warned that if you don't give that suffering meaning, it will break you. But if you embrace it and transform it, it becomes your greatest power. Now it's your turn. What do you think about Nietzsche's ideas? How do you deal with suffering in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've made it this far, you're awesome. Here's a quick heads up. This platform has been hinting that it might start charging for the ability to take notes on videos soon. So if you want to keep taking notes on our videos like you always have, you should sign up for our free newsletter. By signing up, you'll get access to a summary of every video we release, allowing you to continue learning and taking notes without any changes to your routine. Don't worry, we won't send you spam, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Thanks for being a loyal viewer. We really appreciate it.